Welcome back to Wall again, and today we have a returning special guest. It's Eric. How are you keeping, Eric?
Hey Rob, how are things? Thanks for having me on again.
Absolutely, no problem. So it's Floyd Friday. So last week we did Endless River. So
Yep.
this week, going back in reverse chronological order, it must be the Division Bell.
Vision Bell, baby.
Yeah, cool. So you have your vinyl, I have my CD. Um, I'll just run through some of the boring facts about the album, and then Eric, you can run us through some fun facts. So, Division Bell by Pink Floyd, released in 1994. It was the 14th studio album by the band and the first since Momentary Lapse of Reason, which was released in 87. So, Division Bell has sold over 7 million copies worldwide, gone four times platinum in Canada and three times platinum in the US and UK. Got to number one in over 20 countries all over the world, including the USA, Ireland, Canada, UK, and Australia. And it's probably considered a prog rock album, with the main theme apparently being about communication and, human connection. So we'll go into that in a bit further on. And then it was released through EMI and Columbia Records, depending on what side of the pond you're on. Produced by Bob Ezrin and Dave Gilmour. Recorded at the Astoria and Britannia Studios and A&M in Los Angeles, I think, parts of it.
Yep.
And then in terms of length, it clocks in at just under an hour. And the band lineup for this was Dave Gilmour, Nick Mason, and Rick Wright. So yeah, all in all, I think it's actually a very strong album, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um
Very good album. Yeah.
Production.
Amazing album. Yeah, amazing album. Again, one of these. It's kind of like it's a very atmospheric kind of album.
Mm.
Um, they brought back Richard Wright, who had been fired from the Wall, and they brought him back in. Now he was on the Momentary Lapse of Reason, but he wasn't an official Pink Floyd member then, and they officially got him back in on the Vision Bell.
So
So he's
what happened
credited with
there?
all the songs.
How come he got
Yeah,
fired?
there's a whole lawsuit there around the time of the Wall. Roger Waters was going through a divorce and all, and he just he's just turned bad really. Like you can hear it in the Wall album. We'll get to that in another day. But around that time, he didn't think he was contributing to the music.
This,
And
this is Rick.
pretty
Rick.
much he was fired. Yeah, Rick Wright, yeah, Roger Waters didn't think he was contributing, so he actually fired him from the band, and there was massive lawsuits, around the time of Momentary Lapse of Reason, and there was obviously a massive 8 or 9 year gap there, and then they done the Vision Bell, and Gilmour brought back Richard Wright into the fold. He then passed away a couple of years later, but like you can really hear it on the album. I think like apparently they recorded, it was almost over 60 songs they recorded for Division Bell.
Wow.
They done them apparently in clusters. And that's why one of the songs called Cluster One.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, it was part of a whole anthology. They were gonna call it the Big Spliff.
Okay.
You
Right.
can, yeah, you can hear it. It's pretty like out there. It's pretty atmospheric. But as we talked about on our other session, there's a lot of material there that went onto the Endless River and even onto David Gilmour's latest solo album. There's a song in there from those sessions.
Cool.
So that's worth mentioning. You're a massive Metallica fan, Rob, I know.
Yeah.
So there's a guy that featured on the album. He was a composer on it. It was Michael Kamen, who's famous for S&M, S&M One. So yeah, he was part of some of the conductors. So there's a lot of music in there that's very atmospheric, very orchestral. So Michael
Yes.
Kamen would have been the composer in there. So
Right.
yeah, it's again really really cool. Polly Samson, again Gilmour's wife, she's known to
Yeah.
have contributed to a lot of the lyrics on this album. Some really really deep lyrics. They kind of say that this album is almost about two forces, two driving forces fighting with one another. So a lot of people thought it was Gilmour and Roger Waters both
Mm.
fighting. You can even see it on the album. It's like the album art is its perception of two people, but what it actually is there's a negative space on the artwork, and it's meant to represent Sid Barrett as well, apparently.
Really?
On the Yeah, so there's actually three faces, depending on how you look at that.
Okay.
If you can see three faces, again, it's all to do with it's an optical illusion.
Yeah.
But the two faces are meant to be two opposing sides, and like you said, it's the concept of communication on that. So there's some facts about the album, anyways.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's a striking album cover. It's
Yeah,
probably one of their most iconic, along with Dark Side of the Moon is obviously a very iconic cover, and so was The Wall. But this one here, and what's the one with Shine On Your Crazy Diamond? Wish You Were Here. Is that
wish you
album?
were here. Yeah,
That's
wish you were
obviously
here.
iconic as well.
Yeah,
But this one is up there with them. And of course you
yeah.
have a T-shirt with the
I have a
print.
t-shirt. I also have a tattoo as well.
Oh,
There's the
that's
two faces.
class.
Yeah, the two faces there. Yeah, that's how much the album influenced me.
Yeah,
I love Pink Floyd. So that album is up there. It's in my top five, in my top three, in fact. So
brilliant,
yeah.
brilliant. So yeah, like for me, the production on this album is spot on. Absolutely perfect. Bob Ezrin again doing a great job. Dave Gilmour
Yep.
taking a big role in the production as well. But the production does a great job of framing the songs. It's not overproduced. It doesn't go too far, and it hits the nail on the head there for me. Um,
Yep.
and then in terms of that cover that we mentioned, um, so this image was thought up by Storm Thorgerson, who I think was responsible for a lot of the Pink Floyd covers.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, it was exactly what you're saying, like two heads. But Storm was also responsible for the Muse Absolution album cover as well, I believe.
Cool. Yeah,
So
that's
quite
cool.
a renowned visual artist,
Yep.
that a lot of prog bands go to because he's got such an interesting take on the concept of an album, and that's
Mhm.
obviously very important
Yep.
when you're in the prog space, especially. Cool. So we might do well, I suppose just to say also some of the musicians that played on this one. So Guy Pratt, as we mentioned before, plays bass on this one. And then Bob Ezrin actually contributes some keyboard parts as well.
Yep.
And of course, you mentioned Polly Samson has a lot of songwriting credits on a lot of the
Yep.
songs as well.
That's
So
right. Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting.
Renowned journalist, actually. She was a journalist, and she kind of had that a way of words. I think she was like, a lot of people have kind of said, "Oh, her lyrics seem like it's a story she's telling from a different perspective." But you can hear that as well, like in Gilmour's, in his writing. He went to her with the music and he was like, "What do I do with this? Like, like this song needs a good lyric." And apparently she co-wrote a lot of the songs on the album, contributed to the lyrics.
Excellent, excellent stuff. So yeah, so it kicks off with cluster one as you mentioned earlier. So yeah, for me it's a nice intro to the album and some nice guitar work on that one. I think that was a co-write between Rick Wright and Dave Gilmour,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
one.
it's pretty much a jam that they done, and you can really hear that element in like the endless river. Like that's the sort of stuff they didn't know what they were, specifically writing. They were just going ahead and doing some jams, and they turn into these kind of songs. Um, I love Cluster One. It's a lovely intro piece. It's very atmospheric. Something really nice about it.
Yeah, for sure. And then they go on to What Do You Want From Me, which is another Rick Wright, Dave Gilmour. I think this is
Class
just
song.
classic Pink Floyd.
Yeah,
It's this
class song. Yeah,
hit in any of
yeah,
the Pink Floyd albums from the late 70s.
yeah. Worth mentioning as well as we're going through the songs.
Yeah.
This is actually Pulse. It's a DVD I have. Um, if you're really digging the sound on Division Bell, you have to watch this. It's up there with one of the best concerts I've ever watched. Um, think of it. This is back in '94 when the album was released. The light show on this alone will blow you out of your living room or wherever you're gonna watch it. So definitely check that
I
out.
won't watch it
It's
on the phone. I'll make sure I have
Yeah.
a screen and big speakers.
Oh, definitely throw it on the sitting room, have your surround sound on. But it's majority of the songs from Division Bell. They're touring that, and then there's a mix of stuff in there from Momentary Lapse of Reason, and then they done Dark Side of the Moon in entirety. But worth mentioning, you'll get the sound of that. That's the band, pretty much the backing singers, the extra keyboard players, the extra percussionists that they brought in. That's them all. on that stage, and it's out of this world.
Class. Okay, yeah. No, you did mention that to me a few weeks ago to get a watch of that. So yeah, I'll
Yeah,
definitely check that one out.
yeah.
Cool.
Poles Apart, also a really good song. I don't think there's a bad song in this album. I love it. Apparently, it's a song written about Sid Barrett.
Okay,
From the
interesting.
lyrics, yeah,
And
yeah. It's
Polly
apparently
has
it's really good.
she has a songwriting credit on that one as well.
Yeah,
To me, the chord progression there is it's very infectious. It's very memorable and different, and
yeah,
that's something that just hooks me in every time on Paul's Apart.
yeah. I love the actually. There's like a middle eighth in that, and it gets kind of like trippy. But that goes back to that really early day Pink Floyd, like their first, second album. That kind of real Sid Barrett madness, like all sounds of like circuses and everything. It's amazing. Like it's like I said, when you listen to it, it's like an experience. Apparently it's all you know related to Sid Barrett.
Class. And then obviously Marooned is next, which it's a co-write again between Rick Wright and Dave Gilmour. But to me, like Marooned is such a good instrumental song, and it just goes to show like there's not that many bands can write an instrumental song that is so good that you don't need lyrics to pull you in. The music is
Mhm.
just good enough to stand on its own. Like Pink
Oh,
Floyd,
absolutely, yeah.
obviously, Rush, maybe some of Led Zeppelin stuff, but there's not that many bands that can pull this off. But Pink Floyd are the best at it, I think.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely, yeah.
Probably them and Rush, I'd say. But
Yeah,
um, yeah, Maroon for me is a class track.
yeah. Marooned apparently won a Grammy as well. Um,
All right.
for it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's up there. It's in terms of a piece of music. It's composure. It won awards. It was that good.
Yeah, so much emotion. Of course, Dave Gilmour, when he plays lead guitar, there's nobody like
Yeah,
him. He
yeah,
is one of a kind. And you certainly hear a lot of that in Marooned. And then for me, the album takes a little dip in the middle. I wouldn't say they're bad songs. A Great Day for Freedom and Wearing the Inside Out.
yeah,
So the former obviously has a writing credit from Polly Samson again. And then Rick Wright, I believe, takes the lead vocal on Wearing the
yeah,
Inside Out. Is that right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I actually I really like that song. You can hear the kind of angst and where like he'd been fired and been brought back into the fold, and you can kind of sense it in that song. It's almost like he's
Yeah,
getting to sing his piece because like Rich Wright, he had solo albums out himself,
of
sang
course.
on most of Pink Floyd's greatest songs. He's fantastic harmonizer. For him singing by himself, I think it's pretty cool. Like it's a good song.
Yeah, I don't think they're bad songs. I just think when you look at the album overall,
Yeah,
for me, they might just stand up with the others. Take It Back's a great song.
great
Again,
tune.
Polly Samson heavily
Yeah,
involved in that one.
yeah.
Um,
That's where you can say U2 got their sound,
yeah, it's yeah. Well, I suppose it was
their
maybe a bit
polished
after
sound.
some of
Yeah,
the UK classics, but yeah, definitely you can definitely hear some elements of that, and then coming back to life, um, great guitar solo on that. Love the vocal phrasing on that one.
yeah,
Coming back to life, Dave Gilmour, like top form. And this is a solo. I think it's the only song he's credited with writing the whole song.
yeah,
Lyrics, melody, music, everything was Dave Gilmour. So
yeah. Great
great
song,
song.
really good song. Keep
And then
talking, then. Yeah, that's another great song. It's features Stephen Hawkins or phrases from him, and you can hear him also then on the Endless River. So, like I said, these songs were all taken from a collection of recordings. You've got
yeah,
that same kind of style in there.
absolutely. Yeah, I just have epic on this one. Keep talking. It's just an
Yeah,
epic song. There's
very
no
sure.
other
Yeah,
way to describe it. It's not
yeah.
like
Got it.
a little.
You gotta see it. You gotta see it to believe it.
I'll have to see and hear it, yeah, to get
Yeah,
the visual aspect. But yeah, no, it's such an epic song. And Lost for Words is brilliant again. I find with that one, it's probably led by the acoustic guitar and the piano, but what a beautiful song. Like,
yeah. You can hear there's definitely angst in there as well. People have like kind of. I was watching like reading a few reviews and stuff, and people are saying like that song you can sense is it about Roger Waters, is about like there's lyrics in there like about taking the gloves off and just wanting to sort out their problems. Like so,
yeah,
it's a good song.
yeah, it's great. It's great. And then it ends with probably one of the best Pink Floyd songs
Oh yeah,
of all
definitely.
time.
High
It's
hopes.
High Hopes. It's an 8 minute, 30-second masterpiece. And it starts off with the division bell ringing.
Yeah,
It's ringing in time with the piano. So the
yeah,
piano is coming in and it's like syncopated with the bell. And
yeah,
then when the song kicks in, the bell fades out. The song's in perfect time. And then in the outro, the bell comes back into the fold in the song.
yeah.
And
Great song.
and that's only one aspect of the song. Apart from that, the
Yeah,
song is amazing. It's just unbelievable. And it kind of sounds like the last Pink Floyd song, but as we all know, The Endless River came out in 2014. And as you
that's
mentioned,
right.
they reference the last line in this song mentions Endless River. So it ties it all together.
Yeah, and it actually mentions, so they say the endless river forever and ever, and those lyrics forever and ever are actually a song sang by Sid Barrett on the first album. So you can really
Oh, hey.
you can get those kind of tributes. Like if you look, you can look into it and say, they're just words, but I don't know. I think there's meaning behind them as well.
Yeah.
Forever and ever and ever. Like that's one of Sid Barrett's original songs on Piper at the Gates of Dawn, their very first album. So
Great
there's
stuff.
tributes in there. It's pretty cool.
Excellent. Excellent. So, overall, what rating would you give it this album out of 10, Eric?
Yeah, so for me, I don't think there's a bad song on this album, in my opinion. For me, it's one of my top three Pink Floyd albums. It's up
Wow.
there. It's a 10 out of 10 for me.
10 out of 10.
So yeah, it's a 10 out of 10.
Good
It's one of
praise.
my go-to listens when I'm chilling. So that's up there for me.
Class. Yeah, like for me, it's an unbelievably strong Pink Floyd album.
Yeah,
Um, I think it's solid from start to finish. There's not a bad song on it. There's not a song I'd skip. Um, and there's some outstanding tracks there. Production's amazing, songwriting's amazing. So for me, it's an 8 out of 10. Yeah, like
yeah,
it's really up there with one of their best albums. Definitely top five
yeah.
for me.
Yeah, it's also worth just throwing in there as well. So this is another album that was only re-released there a while ago. It's called The Later Years.
Oh, very good.
So if you're digging the sound on Division Bell, this is Division Bell, and actually if you're digging the sounds of Momentary Lapse of Reason, this is like a greatest hits, but it's like a lot of their live stuff, you know what I mean? And a lot of it is taken from the material of Division Bell and Momentary Lapse of Reason. So if you're digging that, check out Pulse, check out that Later Years, because there's so many kind of anthologies out there, Pink Floyd. But you want to tie them all together, it's that album that you're really listening to, and some of the materials in there from live gigs.
Ah, that's deadly. Brilliant. Fair play. You have some catalogue of Pink Floyd albums in your collection.
Yeah, up there, man. My favorite band. So
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Look, well, thanks for joining on, Eric, and giving us your thoughts on that classic album. And we hope everyone at home enjoyed that one. So as we said, we're doing Floyd Fridays. Every Friday we bring you a different Pink Floyd album, going from Endless River right back to Piper at the Gates of Dawn. A different album each week. We review it, we run through who's played on it, who's produced it, what we think of the album, some fun facts as well. So be sure to check it out every Friday. Leave a comment below what you thought of the album. Do you think Division Bell is up there with Pink Floyd's best work? Maybe you think it's their best album, or maybe you don't think it belongs in the same breath as Wish You Were Here, or The Wall,
Dark
or
Side.
Dark Side, or any of the classics. Let us know in the comments. And I really appreciate if you subscribe and like as well. Really helps out the channel. And if you enjoyed this one, there's some other videos that I'll leave links to around the sides here, so you can keep watching. And thanks, Eric, and we'll see you next week for Momentary
Thanks, Rob.
Lapse of Reason. Bye
Awesome.
now.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Bye bye.